Hi there, I'm Jeremy Brigham. I'm a professor who's teaching this course on the geography of Iowa. And do I have the credentials to teach this course? I've lived in Iowa for most of my life. I lived here when I was a child. We moved from Massachusetts when I was 3, lived in Sioux City for 9 years, and then moved to Burlington for a few years. Then we moved back to Massachusetts, and then I've lived since then in Ohio and Illinois and Arizona, and then Ohio again, and finally, after 25 years of being away, moved back to Iowa in 1984. I was a minister. I served a church in Cedar Rapids for 8 years, and then decided to go back to graduate school and get a degree in geography, in political and social geography. I was interested in ethnic conflicts in several places: Yugoslavia, Israel and Palestine, Rwanda. But then I came around to do my doctoral degree and decided to do a study on the civil rights movement in Iowa and Mississippi and look at the relationship between Iowa and Mississippi. And in the process, I learned a lot about Iowa that I didn't really realize or know before, and became interesting to me in that regard. And then a few years ago, I just said, "Oh, let's have a course on the geography of Iowa." I think a lot of people grow up in Iowa and they know where they live, but they don't really know the state very well, and they don't have a systematic way of learning about the state. So I've developed this course to kind of provide a structure for it, and to look into many different aspects. What does it mean to have a state that's bounded by a river on the east and a river on the west? And then smaller rivers, many smaller rivers running through the middle that sometimes flood. And then we have droughts, and how do we handle droughts? So the climate of the state is an interesting factor. The terrific seasons we have, very cold winters and blustery winters, and very hot summers. We'll see if that continues with global warming, but we'll probably have some severe storms in both seasons as we go into the future. But I look at cultural streams, people coming into the state from the east, and also from European countries. We have some very interesting national museums, Danish and Czech and Slovak and Norwegian in the state. So I look at that, and then look at more recent cultural streams, people from Mexico coming, people from Africa, people from Asian countries coming into the state and contributing to the mix of peoples here. Um, the economy of the state is interesting. We have, of course, lots of agriculture: corn, soybeans, hogs, chickens, and eggs. Many factories producing this, and then grain, of course, the grain industries. And I live in Cedar Rapids, and Quaker Oats is very prominent, and ADM is very prominent, and Penford. So the use of oats and corn, and then we have General Mills making cereal. So there's a lot of grain processing going on in Cedar Rapids. And in other cities around the state, like Waterloo and Davenport, John Deere is a very big employer. So they have agricultural machinery in some other cities more than in this city. And then we have contemporary things. We have Rockwell Collins making aeronautics engineering equipment, very prominent and very important outfit. Throughout the state, there's a lot of insurance, and Des Moines is particularly important as an insurance center as well as a governmental center. And that in itself is kind of an interesting thing. Why is insurance such a successful enterprise in this state? So you look at business things, you look at the cities that we have, the agriculture, the various cultures, the transportation systems. We had, railroads really crisscrossed this state back in the late 19th century, and we still have railroads, but they increasingly in the 20th century, and particularly after the middle part of the 20th century, we have the interstate highway systems, but also many federal roads and state roads that crisscross the state. We really have more roads per acre than most any other state, and that then leads to the problem of lots and lots of bridges, and many of which are in poor repair. So we have that, and then of course a few years ago we had terrific floods, not just in Cedar Rapids where I live, but all up and down the Cedar River and the Iowa River, and many other rivers. The Turkey River flooded Elkader very badly a few years ago, and there was a recreational dam at Lake Delhi that the dam broke, and all the people that had homes along the lake suddenly found themselves high above mud. So we have, all these the rivers and what they contribute to life here. So for all these different reasons, I'm become quite interested. One of the things I've particularly explored are the names of the counties, and we have 99 counties. Well, why do we have 99 counties? And where did all these names come from? Henry and Louisa and Lynn and Des Moines and Polk and all the different names of the counties. They all have a history to them, and sometimes the people who gave their names to the counties were working together. They were compatriots of one another, or in some way related to one another. So that becomes an interesting factor also. So for all these different reasons, I'm interested in this course, and I'm glad to have a chance to have students from a variety of places around the state to participate in this course. And I'm hoping that we can communicate with one another. I will establish meetings every week that you're welcome to attend. It's not required, but it's a good chance to talk about some issues and to get some feedback on discussion questions or other things that we're doing. So I would encourage you to participate in that. But as I say, it's not mandatory. There's no grade associated with attending the meeting. So we'll stop there and